Well, it didn't quite go to plan, but still a pretty productive month. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing my wrap up for the month of May, and this was a busy one. I got quite a lot in, although not some of the big things that I wanted to. I wasn't able to fit in, and I still have a bit to go to finish up that I didn't quite get done in May, so let's talk about it. Now the first few things, the weird thing is it was some stuff I was finishing up in April, and so I feel like this was so much longer ago than it was, but I'm still going to go over them kind of briefly because I've talked about the first couple before. But I finished up The Book That Wouldn't Burn in very early May. This is one I was kind of mixed on. I did do a full review for if you want to check that out, but it was definitely an interesting read. And then I also finished up The View from the Cheap Seats. Oh my gosh, we're right at the beginning of the video. This is a bad sign. The View from the Cheap Seats by Neil Gaiman, which I really enjoyed. This was a collection of nonfiction and just a lot of really insightful things. And it got, like, the further I got into it, some of it I'm like, I'm less interested in this, but there was a lot of stuff to keep me going. I might do like a short version of a review of that at some point because I haven't yet, but that was enjoyable. And then I did another e-arc, which was The Will of the Many by James Islington, and I really enjoyed this one. I was a bit worried about it because the premise made it sound like it might not be up my alley, but really good book. Could just see that he'd really grown as an author. Also do a review for that one if you are interested in checking out my full thoughts on it, but really good time with that one. Then continuing the Rune Lords read through with book 5, Sons of the Oak. This is the one where we really start to shift gears and focus on kind of like the next generation, which I knew to be coming. I honestly really like this. I've heard mixed things about the back half, but this did, I felt, a really good job of continuing, still having elements from the earlier books, but then kind of raising the stakes in a way that really made sense with the way that things had been going. And so I found myself quite enjoying this, and I'm really excited for the rest. I think some people were just, didn't care as much after the main arc was wrapped up in book 4, but there's a lot of good stuff here, so I'm still really excited to continue this and finish up the series, but really enjoyed this one. And then next up, I was reading, which is the only one I've gotten to so far, which isn't great, but I was trying out the finalists for SPSFC that my team's allotted, or I think we're all reading the same ones now, with Night Music, and I got about halfway through this one, and it was a DNF. The way it was written, it felt incredibly dated, even for today, and it's supposed to be in the future. All of the characters were just obnoxious. The dialogue just did not work for me at all. And there was kind of an interesting story of something happening, but I just got to the point where I really didn't care to continue. So that one was a DNF. But then I moved on to Speak with Elders by Mike Mullman, which is book 2 in Protectors of Brittany, and I really enjoyed this one. This just took all the things that I loved from the first book and just really amped it up. We've got just a crazy amount of quests and all kinds of cool stuff. I actually did do a dedicated review for this, even though it's a book 2, because there was so much I wanted to talk about, so you can definitely check that out if you're interested as well. But really enjoying the series. Cannot wait to continue reading Brittany, because I really enjoyed my time there. And then I just realized how many e-arcs I had. It had been so long since I'd done an e-arc, and I did multiple, but that's the next one was actually an audio arc, which was the first one. And I have a review for this as well, but it was The Fury of Kings by R.S. Moule, I think, if I'm saying that right. And this one was okay. It definitely felt like a debut, and it didn't feel like it did enough to kind of differentiate itself from kind of the, Game of Thrones type of thing that it was trying to do. So there wasn't a lot of groundbreaking or new or fresh, but it was a decent fantasy story. It just, there were some little tidbits of things that I feel like in further entries might be explored more, that I was more interested in. But like I said, check out the review if you want to hear my full thoughts on that one. And then I finally got to, because I wanted to get to this quite a while ago, The Keeper's 6 by Kate Elliott. I did also do a review for this, and this is one of those ones where this is not my kind of book at all. It's still, it does so many great things, but it has the feel of kind of not what I'm looking for, more like urban fantasy versus epic fantasy, even though it's hard to say, because this is like an epic urban fantasy. It's like it takes place from our world, but there's so much going on, and Kate Elliott just continues to amaze me with what she's able to fit into short work. Just all of the world building and the aspects and the cool things that she has crammed in here without it feeling like it had to be crammed in there. Just feels so natural, and seen very few people who can do with short work what Kate Elliott can do, and especially since I love her long form series as well, always impressed. And then I did do a couple of audios, which included the second Willful Child book, Wrath of Betty. I didn't enjoy this one as much as the first one. We branched out a little bit and still, doing kind of the Star Trek thing with some more Star Trek jokes, some other things, and we got some more jokes in there as well. About a lot of different things, but it kind of just, I don't know, the first one I felt like I towed the line really well. This one was kind of up and down for me, yet it's still, there were quite several times throughout where I just found myself chuckling out loud as some joke in there. So it's still something I enjoyed. Not quite as much as the first one, but still pretty solid, and I still will absolutely be doing the third book, The Search for Spark. That one I originally started thinking it was book one, and the immediate beginning jokes already killed me. So I'm hoping that that'll be a return to form from the first one that I really, really enjoyed. And then I read probably one of the strangest things I've read in a long time, which was Beware of Chicken by Casual Farmer, which is a cozy progression fantasy farming book. And I did this one on audio. It was my first time hearing Travis Baldry. So Travis did a really good job with the narration, but this was just oddly enjoyable. And I did do a full review of this one as well, because it was one of those things that was so strange I had to talk about it. It was recommended by Spyro, and I was glad I tried it. I felt like it was kind of what I needed. I had a lot less reading time in the back half of this month, and so I listened to like half of it in a day while I was doing yard work and stuff. And it was very light and fun and charming, and I did enjoy that one as well. And then what I've been reading also, which I haven't brought up till now, throughout the month, was the Beast Hunter trilogy by Chris Lundy. And I'm about halfway through the third book here, because I read the first one, and I decided, I'm like, okay, well, it seems like this is going to be really very much something that makes sense to binge. They're pretty short, and we're definitely building up. So I decided to binge them, and I got through the first two very quickly, and I got through the first half of the third one pretty quickly, but I had to end up pausing it for a bit, because I still need to focus on finishing the last big book of the month, which is Grand Conspiracy by Janie Wirtz, which is book 5, kind of, The Wars of Light and Shadow. I'll just say 5. And this is it's another pretty big one. It's like 600 pages in hardcover, so it's not like the biggest and craziest, but I have been, I waited way too long to get this started, because I have a live show to discuss this book, which will be Saturday, so the day after this comes out, and I'm filming this Thursday with still like almost 300 pages to get through, so not great with the time management on my part, but fantastic book so far, and I'm going to be definitely making sure that I get that done in time to discuss. But I've just in love with this series. That has definitely continued, and this one's really starting to open some things up in a lot of ways, so it's been pretty great. So those are all the things that I read or are in the midst of reading that I didn't quite finish in May. The notable things that I had wanted to get to and did not include Spirit Gate by Kate Elliott. I've been meaning to start the Crossroads trilogy for quite some time. I read a Kate Elliott book, so I feel like that should count for something, but I still really, really want to get that started. A Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart, which is another one I've been wanting to get to for a while, and I definitely will be getting to soon. I might hybrid read this with audio to make sure that I get to it quicker, but definitely planning on getting to this. And then Nicholas Raven and the Wizard's Web, which I did actually start, just barely, but I had to put this down when I realized how little time I had to start my physical book of Grand Conspiracy, and so I did get started on this, but I'm not very far into this. This is a chonker, and so these are the ones that I didn't end up being able to get to, all of which I am absolutely still planning on getting to. Just didn't quite fit it in with this month. I'm hoping to get a lot caught up in June with finishing up things, getting to some more review copies, and just getting some reading and some other series and stuff that I want to get done going. So hopefully we'll have good luck with that. Really though, that is it for me for the month of May. So let me know what you read in May and or your thoughts on any of the things that I read or that I didn't get to. Always happy to have those conversations down in the comments. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description as always for the Wizardly Duo Discord if you want to chat books, whether these books, other books, any books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.